Okay, good morning, sir. I am Arnel A. Patalinghog from BS Ed2 Filipino. The topic that we are assigned is all about kartilya ng Katipunan. Okay, number one is Emilio Jacinto. Alam naman natin na si Emilio Jacinto ay siya ang utak ng Katipunan. Emilio Jacinto is a historian. Regard Emilio Jacinto as the brain of the Katipunan. Artemio Ricarte called him the most of the Filipino people, while Efanio de los Santos considered him as the soul of the revolution and the eyes of the Katipunan. Emilio Jacinto was born in Trozo in Manila on December 15, 1875. His father was Mariano Jacinto, who according to Said was a bookkeeper, but according to A.D. de los Santos was a merchant. His mother, Josefina Dizon, was a manghihilot or midwife. He studied at the private school of the Maestro Ferrer and later at the private school of Jose Dizon. He was enrolled by his uncle, the Colegio de San Juan Letran for his bachelor's degree, and he later transferred to the University of Santo Tomas to study law. Sinasabi doon sa malinaw sa pahayag doon na si Emilio Jacinto is nag-aaral sa San Colegio de San Juan, tapos nag-transfer siya sa bachelor degree, and he later transferred to the University of Santo Tomas to study law. The next one is he used the pen names Pinky and Disamalaw and Kaelyong. I know that you are familiar sa mga ganitong pangalan ng pen. He joined the Katipunan in 1894 and was the youngest member at 19 years old. He was the fiscal secretary, editor, and a later general of the Katipunan. Alam naman natin na si Emilio Jacinto is very skilled person. Siya ay isang matalinong estudyante. He also became the director of the printing shop and library of the Katipunan. The library contained written works on tactics and weaponry, the French Revolution, and works of Demagius. Let's proceed. Emilio Jacinto, he also became the director of the printing shop and library of the Katipunan. The library contained written works on tactics and weaponry, the French Revolution, and ethics. Jacinto was proclaimed Generalissimo of the North, punong hukbo sa Hilagaan. He became the advisor of the Supremo and furnished Bonifacio with weapons, money, printing materials, and musical composition. He was also the editor of the newspaper Kalayaan. The next one is Kartilya ng Katipunan. Andres Bonifacio long wanted to have a codified document listing and duties and responsibilities of every member of the Katipunan. Incidentally, as Bonifacio was drafting said document, Emilio Jacinto was writing one as well. By the time that Bonifacio was about to consult Jacinto for comments on his draft, the latter presented his work to the Supremo after seeing the draft of Kartilya ng Katipunan by Emilio Jacinto. Bonifacio was impressed with Jacinto's style of writing and decided to adopt the Kartilya as the guidebook for the rules and regulation of the Katipunan. Aside from the maltreatment experienced by Filipinos from Spaniards, the following are the other factors that were influencing in the forming of Katipunan and that of the Kartilya. That's all. Thank you.
For the continuation, I am Justin Hart Pimanzo. Aside from the maltreatment experienced by Filipinos from the Spaniards, the following are the other factors that were influential in the forming of the Katipunan and that of the Kartilya. First, the age of enlightenment gave way to liberalism and classicism, and in the 20th century, modernism. In this period, secret societies like the Freemasons were established. Coffee houses, newspapers, and literary salons flourished as the new places for ideas to circulate and transfer. Second, the French Revolution was a period of social and political upheaval in France. It became the focal point for the development of all modern political ideologies. This led to the spread of radicalism, liberalism, and nationalism, which greatly influenced the Ilustrados in the Philippines and in Europe. The third one is the Masonry was introduced to the Philippines in 1856 when a Spanish naval officer organized a lodge in Cavite under the auspices of the Portuguese Gran Oriente Lusitano. However, the true roots of Philippine Masonry sprouted in 1889 when Graciano Lopez Saina organized the Logia Revolution in Barcelona under the auspices of Grande Oriente Español. Through Filipino students studying in Spain, Masonry further spread in Philippines circles among Marcelo H. del Pilar, Jose Alejandrino, brothers Antonio and Juan Luna. The fourth one is the propaganda movement, was propelled by the execution of the three priests Gomborza in 1872, which left a profound effect on many Filipinos, including Jose Rizal. After the execution, many Filipinos started questioning Spanish authorities and asked for reforms. The Ilustrados demanded for reforms through a systematic and peaceful movement, later called the propaganda movement. This movement helps Andres Bonifacio and other nationalists to realize that a peaceful way of asking for reforms was not enough, leading to the establishment of the Katipunan and the staging of an armed rebellion against the Spanish colonial administration. And the last one is the La Liga Filipina, was established by Jose Rizal when he decided to return to the Philippines to continue to call for reforms through legal means. However, the operations of La Liga were cut short when Jose Rizal was arrested and excited to defeat them. Left without a leader, La Liga split into two functions. The Katipunan, led by Andres Bonifacio, and the Cuerpo de Compromisarios.
Hello, sir. Good morning. I am Chantal P. Orongan, and the topic that I assigned was the Katipunan Code of Conduct, Cartilla by Emilio Jacinto, and Decalogue of the Duties of the Son of the People by Andres Bonifacio. The Decalogue of the Duties of the Son of the People, penned by Andres Bonifacio, the Supremo of Katipunan, was composed of the responsibilities and characters expected from a certified Katipunero, while the Cartilla was while the Cartilla ng Katipunan was written by Emilio Jacinto. Although the two written works have the same message to tell, there's still quite a bit of comprehension that I have observed while reading these two articles. First was the style of writing. Words from the Decalogue explicitly tells what was exactly the author meant to imply to his readers. For me, it portrays the personality of God Andres Bonifacio, who meant every word he says and he has conviction with them. On the other hand, the Cartilla ng Katipunan was written with lots of literacy articles. Jacinto's choice of words were very practiced and at the same time implicit. For example, the first sentence of each written on the Decalogue, it was written like this: love God full-heartedly. While on Jacinto Cartilla ng Katipunan, The first line was written like this: life which is not concrete to a lofty and sacred, cause it's like a tree without shadow. It's not a poison weed. Although the two have the same message to portray, which is to other, which to offer your life to God. The style of how they are written was completely different. Another difference among their words was the audience. They were applicable for, although other might have different interpretation, but from what I have comprehend, the Decalogue seems to be written directly for those who are members of the KKK. Every word of the Decalogue dic- dictates how the members should think, speak, and act while upholding the values and honor of the brotherhood and the nation. On the other hand, Kartelya ng Katipunan might be written by a Katipunero or maybe was really meant for them. But when we read through, we can reduce it is not really just for Katipunero, but for every Filipino. For instance, the fifth line of each works, the Decalogue says that God of the would honor the mandates of aim of the KKK, while the Cartelia says he who is mobile prefer honor to personal gains. He who is mean prefers personal gain to honor. By this we can see that the Decalogue seems to directly and strictly talk to our members of KKK, while the Cartelia seems to while the Cartelia seems to be applicable for each and every Filipino from their generation up today. Both lines uh, have value and honor, and that's all. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. This is the continuation of our topic, Proclamation of the Philippine Independence. So, the Philippine situation from the islands of its mini colonizer is no secret to us. So, before the declaration of the Philippine independence, there was a Philippine Revolution which began in August 1896. Shortly before was that of Jose Rizal in December until its end in 1901. So, originally it was a war of independence against Spain, which turned into a war of independence from United States and later on. So as the United States replaced in Spain as colonial master, many of our best heroes were killed during the revolution, but there were also significant individuals who continued the fight. Philippine independence is no easy feat to attain. Our heroes made various sacrifices to free our country from the abuses of the colonizer. So most of these heroes are well known and widely credited. Some were unsung, but nevertheless, their contribution made us what we are today. So most of the important players of the Philippine independence were course military leaders, strategists, and government leaders. So one of these leaders is Emilio Aguinaldo, the first president of the Philippine Republic. Along with his contemporaries, they envisioned the Philippines as free countries away from the grasp of the foreigners. The declaration was proclaimed on June 12, 1898 in Cavite 2. So Il Vehillo, with the public reading of the Act of the Proclamation of Independence of the Filipino People. So Filipino revolutionary forces under the General Emilio Aguinaldo proclaimed the sovereignty and independence of the Philippine Islands from the colonial rule of Spain for the first time. So the flag of the Philippines was unfurled, which was made in the Hong Kong by Marcela Agoncillo, Lorenza Agoncillo, and Delfina Herbosa. So Filipina Magdalo as national anthem known as Lupang Hinirang, composed by Julian Filipi and played by the San Francisco de Malabon Marching Band. Of the Declaration of Independence was prepared, written, and read by Ambrosio Ryanzares Bautista in Spanish. And then the declaration was signed by 98 people, among them a United States Army officer who witnessed the proclamation. The final paragraph states that there was a stranger in English, and translation extranjero in the original Spanish, meaning is a foreigner. So who attended the proceeding? Mr. L. M. Johnson, described as a citizen of the USA, a colonel of artillery. Despite his prior military experience, Johnson had no official role in the Philippines. And the continuation of this proclamation, the declaration was never recognized by either the United States or Spain, later in 1898. So Spain ceded the Philippines to the United States in 1898. Treaty of Parts that ended the Spanish-American War according to War Sister 1914. So the Philippine Revolutionary Government did not recognize the Treaty of American Sovereignty and subsequently fought and lost a conflict with the United States known as the Philippine-American War, which ended. The Filipino Aguinaldo was captured by U.S. forces and issued a statement acknowledging and accepting the sovereignty of the Philippine states over the Philippines. And lastly, sometime in the 1980s or 1990s, the declaration was stolen from the National Library as a part of a larger investigation into the widespread theft of historical documents and a subsequent public appeal for the return of stolen documents. The declaration was returned to the National Library in 1994 by historian and University of the Philippines Professor Milagros Guerrero, who mediated the return of the documents.
Hello, good day everyone. So by the way, I am April Joy Diagapito, and today we will tackle about the Declaration of Philippine Independence. So the Declaration of Philippine Independence refers to the proclamation made on June 12, 1898, in which the Philippines declared its independence from Spanish colonial rule. This historic event took place in Cavite and marked the end of over 300 years of Spanish colonization. The declaration was led by Filipino revolutionary leaders, including Emilio Aguinaldo, who became the first President of the Philippines. The documents proclaimed the independence of the Philippines and declared the establishment of democratic government. The declaration was a significant milestone in the country's history and symbolized the Filipinos' desire for self-determination and freedom. However, despite the proclamation, the Philippines still face challenge in fully achieving independence, as it subsequently came under American colonial rule after the Spanish-American War, until July 4, 1946, that the Philippines finally gained complete independence from the United States. Nevertheless, the Declaration of Philippine Independence remained a moment in the nation's struggles for freedom and serves as a reminder of the Filipino people's and determination. Today, the declaration serves as a reminder of the Philippines, the ongoing of national development and progress. It's a symbol of the Filipino people's and identity, unity, and aspiration for a better future. So that's all. Thank you.